Well, hi. I thought I would answer the question many people have been asking me. So what really is osseous integration? I've talked about osseous integration, made reference to osseous integration, talked about an implant. So tonight I thought I'd be a little bit vulnerable and show you what my osseous integration looks like. Why I'd also like to answer the question of why is mine the first one like this? Like, what makes it the first one like this? And so I thought I'd answer that question as well. And then maybe some other things will come up as I begin to chat. So osseous integration is when there is a metal implant which is inserted in a bone, usually, always a long bone, and that is what the prosthetic attaches to, whether it be an upper arm long bone, or whether it be your forearm, that long bone, your shin, your femur, what is your thigh. There are different names for different types of amputation. So there's above the knee, below the knee, so BK or AK, above the knee. I don't think that there is necessarily, when you lose your whole leg at the hip, from the hip down, it's called a hip disarticulation. You have no leg from your pelvis down, meaning you have no hip joint, knee, or ankle. So I am a hip disarticulate amputee. However, they kept part of my femur and fused it and screwed it to my pelvis, which I will show you an x-ray here and try to explain that by drawing on it. So that's my x-ray, and you can see my pelvis, you can see the femur and how it's screwed to my pelvis. And then the metal rod, which runs through the femur and up through the pelvis. So why would you do that? Well, bone stock, or giving you bone, all the way out to the implant, and having not a lot of excessive skin is advantageous. It's better. So in above the knee, like the femur ends and then the implant sticks out, and they just wrap the end of the bone with soft tissue. If you have a lot of tissue, then that rubs on the implant and becomes very problematic. You can have a lot more infections. The tissue just does not tolerate the metal implant very well if you have an excessive amount of tissue at the end of your amputation. Me having extra bone stock, if there were to be something to go wrong, I have extra bone there. Having the implant just stick out my pelvis with no bone there, it doesn't give a lot of anchorage for the implant. There's not a lot that, it goes through the bone, but it's more stable with having the femur fused to the pelvis. So that is what makes me unique. There's not another person like that. And with having this be the first, there's certainly been challenges, but there's also been great triumph. I'll get into my prosthetic journey here, hopefully in the next video, and explain what's happening there. But I can say this part, and it's really humbling. Where I go for prosthetic care, They take care of a lot of the Ukraine soldiers, and they are donating $500,000 worth of prosthetic legs or arms to the Ukrainian soldiers. The reason why I get a little emotional about that is that a lot of these men, I've met 3 of them in person, they weren't in the Army. They weren't in any branch of military before all this stuff happened. And they were just ordinary people standing up for their country. And while they didn't pay the ultimate sacrifice of their life, they've paid dearly. Some of them are not like young men, you know, and not that it really matters, but I mean, they are mature, older men. I mean, I'm not going to say they're my age, but there are a few that I know about from firsthand experience that they've got to be close. And then there was one young man that had to be close to my daughter's age, maybe my son's age. You know, I see them, and I see my kids, and I don't know. You know, when you watch it on TV, read a newspaper, watch a YouTube video, or it just is not the same. So anyway, having osseointegration has so far proven to be very beneficial when I compare myself to one of the Ukrainian soldiers who also lost his entire leg. He has no hip, no knee, and no ankle. But he has a hip dysartic type of standard prosthetic. And I'll show a picture of what a standard one, if you will, looks like. So if you see from the picture, he has a brace that goes around his waist and underneath of his butt. And he has to sit on the prosthetic and then basically rotate or thrust his pelvic forward. And then that gets the leg to move. This gentleman that I saw last week, excuse me, walking. He walked, you know, he was walking. Praise the Lord for that. But his walking was much more struggled than my walking. He's been here in the United States for about 4 weeks and has had a lot of prosthetic care and gait training, and I've only had a couple weeks, 2 weeks with the test leg that I have. And the physical therapist told me last week that it was their last week, and that he was really staring at me walking. And the physical therapist said, he's probably wondering what in the world you have or that you're doing that you can walk as well as you do. And in many ways I felt so sorry. So sorry for that man. The price he paid. And, you know, they don't have access to the care that we do here in the United States. And they don't have prosthetic care like we do here. And I'm just overcome with gratitude. And I'm so humbled that I have opportunity to have what I have. Sorry. So anyway, back to mine. I thought I would be very transparent and show you what it is that I have. But right now, I just thought I'd show you what is osseointegration, what does it look like, and specifically, what does it look like on me. So this is a little hard for me to show, disclose, but I know that there are people following and so many people interested. And so the teacher in me is teaching. So I'm going to flip the camera around and you'll be hearing me speak. You'll just see my left leg and my right amputated leg and the little leg that I have left. Okay, so here's my left leg, obviously, and here is my right leg. So my leg is about the width of my hand, not very long. This is the metal implant that sticks out of my leg. This part of my leg does not move separate from my pelvis. So the only way that this part of my leg, it's fused, it's like one piece, moves is me moving my whole pelvis. And that's what allows me to walk with my prosthetic leg. So I thought I would show you. So if you're sensitive to this sort of thing, maybe you don't want to watch this part. But I thought I would show you what it looks like. So, kind of hard because it's not really pretty, but this is where they cut and sewed it back together. So this part was before on the back of my leg, and now it's wrapped around to the bottom or somewhat front of my leg. And this is where the implant comes out of my skin. And it's real critical that I always keep this area clean and not touch it with my finger, because we carry a lot of bacteria on our fingers even after we've washed them, believe it or not. And so touching where the implant comes out at that skin is a no-go. And in order to wash that area, I either use Johnson's baby soap or I use HebaCleanse. HebaCleanse is a hospital grade cleaner, and I can't use it a lot because it's pretty harsh on the skin, dries it out and things like that. So this little part here is the part that is here. So if you were to twist, because turning and twisting is not going to be a real good option. Pivoting is not going to be a good option on this right side. So when I turn around, I'll be turning towards my left and using my left foot as a pivot point. But anyway, I thought I'd show you this little end piece. So this piece here is separate from this, and this is separate from this. I don't know if you can see that little indentation, but when I put my leg on, it slides up and covers up this whole silver aspect. And then there is basically a set screw that that the leg will attach to. See if I can get a closer up. So you can see maybe there's a little bit of marring on there because I have used a prosthetic leg, and it's not real deep. So it doesn't have a huge bite to it. In other words, not a lot of depth. But if I were to fall, this piece is designed to break. It has a few little teeth that come into this part, and it's designed to break, if you were to twist on it. And so that's a replaceable part. This would be a replaceable part in this as well, but it would require an operation. This would not. So there are different types of implants that you can have. This is one style. Another style is called the Oprah. and it has a different, it just has a different end. It may seem like, wow, or somewhat barbaric, like, what in the world have you done? But the ability to feel, like I can feel this all the way up into my pelvis, and when I have the leg on, if I were to close my eyes, it would feel like I was standing on my own 2 feet. You can just feel everything. The other day I had the leg on and I went to turn and it like shifted, it like wiggled. And I said, hey, there's something going on with the leg, something's loose. And they commented that, yeah, not too many people can feel that. And certainly not somebody that has that socket that goes like underneath of their butt and goes around their waist. They can't feel that. So I could feel it, and they evaluated it, and they tightened up a little set screw that was actually loose. And I could feel that just by trying to turn around. So I'd be interested to see as time goes on just how functional I will get with this style. But I know from my previous hip brace and an external, like there was a hinge out here on my brace before, it slipped and, it would slide around. I had to wear like a t-shirt or a tank top underneath so that the belt from my brace before didn't cause a lot of abrasion on my skin. In the summertime, it was really hot. So I knew that from that perspective, along with the fact that that socket kind, you just sit in it. This actually attaches to me, which I'll show you in a video tomorrow. You may have seen in the background here, I'm sitting in a hotel room this evening, and I'm over in Maryland where I get prosthetic care. Let me turn this around so you're not just staring at my implant in my leg, although you may find it fascinating, I'm not sure. But I'm going to turn it around now. I just thought I would answer the question of what is osseointegration, what makes this so different. I feel like I've done so. Osseointegration, I explained it. I gave you a picture, an x-ray of me, and why mine is so unique and number one, type. I actually did not know that when I agreed to proceed, even though I knew what was going to happen. I didn't realize that it was cutting edge like that. I did know that hip disarticulation osseous integration. Boy, that's a mouthful. Hip disarticulation osseous integration. I knew that I might be like the third or fourth person to have it the way that the other ones have had it, but this way is the first, the way it's done. So anyway, I'm feeling really good about the decision. Even if I never walk a day in my life on a prosthetic limb, I made the right decision for me because I was in so much pain before. The only thing I have to worry about now is keeping the stoma, which is that little leg that I have where the implant comes out, keeping that clean and free of infection. And it takes, personal hygiene plus some. So, yeah, you just have to be vigilant on caring for it. So it goes with the territory, but unless you don't want to be clean, I wouldn't recommend it. But I can say that I can feel the leg on me. I don't actually feel the leg, but I can feel the pressure. I can feel when it twists or turns. I can feel a bump in the sidewalk. I can feel an uneven, like from a transition from like carpet to linoleum. I'm trying to think what else I've experienced. I have gone up and down a flight of stairs, walked on a sidewalk. there was a mat outside of the clinic that I was working, where I was working with my gait, and my prosthetic limb landed half on the concrete sidewalk and half on the mat, and I could feel that, up through my bone. So proprioception, in other words, feeling that, I'm very aware. And if I had a socket, I would not be as aware. And so, anyway, I just thought I would explain what osseointegration was, what it looked like for me. And I appreciate you watching. I'm a little nervous about putting this out there, to be honest with you, because it's so personable, and people who know me and live in my community, and then being able to see my leg that way, I'm feeling a little vulnerable. But I know it's all for the good. I know it's to try and help people make a decision, or at least that's why I'm doing it, is to try and help other people. So yeah, I hope it helps. I hope you understand, and maybe you're considering osseointegration, or maybe you just have a heart for people going through something. Maybe it's just me. You're watching the video because you want to ride along on the journey. So anyway, we're going to keep journeying, and let me see, my shirt says, go where you feel most alive. So I feel like I'm journeying. I'm going where I feel most alive. And anyway, until the next time, have yourself a blessed day.